You're listening to the MBA Wire, episode 34. Special shout out here to Liz Reed from Prodigy Finance. You have been amazing and such great help for this podcast. Thank you. All right, boys and girls, let's hit it.
Inspirational MBA talk with successful alumni to motivate you during your application run. We go behind the scenes of every story, talk business, and show you why it's worthwhile to never give up on your MBA dream. And now, here's your host with the most, Mateo Chang.
What's up, citizens of the Wire? Welcome back to yet another great episode of this podcast. It's a beautiful morning here in Sao Paulo, and I am sitting here with Anne Carnahan, Associate Director of Admissions from Columbia Business School. And thank you so much for granting your time with us, not only with the info session, but also to grant this interview for our students listening to the MBA Wire. Anne, could you just go ahead and introduce yourself? Tell me about what you're doing, why you're in Latin America right now, and things that are going on, some of the exciting things that are going on at Columbia Business School.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for having me. So I am Anne Carnahan, as you said, and an Associate Director of Admissions at Columbia Business School, where I've worked for about the past 5 years. I've been very lucky to find a home at Columbia Business School and really love the students and the admissions team and the professors, and just the whole Columbia Business School community has been fantastic. I am here in Latin America right now recruiting. We are looking for great Columbia Business School students to join our ranks, and I am going around different places to meet with prospective students, to give information sessions, to be part of the MBA tour, to meet with local alumni, and really just bring great students into the MBA program. We have about 40% international students in our class, so we always have a great international representation.
Nice. So, as an associate director of admissions, apart from recruiting, what kind of things do you do while at the office? What are your duties there?
Yeah, sure thing. So I am part of the admissions committee, which means I read and review applications. So I'm one of the people in our team who reads files, then writes up little reports, then gets to sit on the admissions committee where we make decisions about who's going to be in the incoming class. All very exciting stuff. And then I also work specifically on our diversity recruitment. So I work with our Black Business Student Association, our Hispanic Business Association, our LGBTQ group called Cluster Q, and also our Military and Business Association and our Columbia Women in Business Club.
Wow, so you're actually a part of the decision-making process on who gets to get in and who doesn't, right? Awesome. Okay, so just a few questions about that process. I know a lot of students who are trying to apply to Columbia do get nervous because Columbia has gradually been becoming one of those schools that's been harder. It appears to be harder to reach. As far as it's tougher and tougher every year to get into. What kind of things are you looking in prospect students? What are the things that really stand out for you? When you're looking through these applications.
Sure. So I think something that's important to note is that it can feel like a really daunting process to apply to business schools. And especially if, Columbia Business School is your top choice, you really want to come here. It can feel really scary to submit your application and not know the odds or not know what's happening behind the curtain, so to speak. But I just want to reassure people that we really are a team of people behind the curtain, and we read every application. We're really excited to read your stories. We read every essay you write, and we really want to get to know you through the application process. So I think that's what makes for a really strong application is, of course, we're looking for people with strong academics who can do the work with our very challenging academic curriculum. We're looking for people who've had a track record of success professionally, who have a clear understanding of what their goals are post-MBA, and who know how they want to utilize the Columbia MBA to reach those goals, and we can see them as future business leaders, but also people who are a good fit personally with the program, who will be strong members of the community, who will be invested in one another's experience and just really positive people to be around. We like nice people at Columbia Business School. So I think those are the things that we're looking for, and what makes an application really stand out is when we get a sense of who the person is, behind the numbers, behind all of the things that you're submitting to us. And so that's something that I encourage people to do, is really take the time to do a lot of research into the program and really see what are the resources at CBS that will help you achieve your goals. How do you see yourself being a student on campus? What would you be involved with? What clubs, organizations, professors, classes are you excited to join? So that if you can picture yourself on campus, it makes it a lot easier for us on the admissions committee to picture you here as well.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, because I think you have to be able to show, how you fit in the school, how you will interact in the school. In my opinion, most schools are not looking for like the next John Nash who's going to be locked up in his room. Although that's, those geniuses are great to have once in a while, but most of the time, I think schools are looking for people who are going to be interacting both on campus, off campus, and be tight, to help build a tight-knit community. And my next question is regarding culture and fit. I mean, that's one of those questions that most applicants only understand once they've been accepted and got into the school. Then they're like, okay, that's fit. Can you explain to our students, to our listeners, a little bit more about this culture? What's Columbia's culture like?
Yeah, absolutely. So the culture is such an important part of the experience, and it's something that is really hard to get a grasp of before you come to campus and are a current student, but it's something that I would really encourage people to try to understand as much as possible, even before applying to a business school, because it is such a long process, and you're putting so much time and energy into each school that you're applying to, is really understanding what the student culture is like and what the community is like. And at Columbia Business School, we have a very tight-knit community of students who are collaborative and excited to work with one another and excited to be there together. Students who are, smart and talented and used to being very good. And so I think it's something where they are competitive, but competitive with themselves, to push themselves to that next level, to really be, to know more, to be a business leader, and to make the most out of their MBA experience and really get engaged and involved in all the things that they want to do on campus, but also give back to their neighbor, to the person sitting next to them in their classroom. I think that's something that's so fabulous about the Columbia Business School community, is that students understand that someone else's success is not their failure. They want other people to succeed in their classroom, not just because they're friends, which they are, but also because they see their friend's success as the success of their class, of their network, and that's something that lasts a lifetime.
Wow, that's true. Yeah, it's like a collective success. Everybody lifts each other up in that sense. That's fantastic. And, well, since you work at Columbia, I mean, it is a little bit different from people who study there, but in fact, it's not as different because you're in the day-to-day in that environment. What's it like for you? What do you enjoy about, being at Columbia Business School? What's the energy there, the daily feel of school life?
Yeah, so I'm so lucky to have the chance to work closely with a lot of student clubs and with a lot of current students, both through the affinity clubs and diversity clubs that I mentioned, but also through the Hermes Society, which is the student arm of the admissions office. So we have about 200 students who have opted into this process to give back time to prospective students because they receive so much help and guidance in the process of applying to Columbia Business School that they want other people to know how great Columbia is. And so I get to work with a lot of students that way as well. And it's just a really fantastic environment to be in. It's so dynamic, so engaging. I mean, we're in the business center of the world in New York City, and there's so many exciting things happen every single day. There are speakers coming to campus. There are guest lectures. We have our adjunct professors who are working full-time as well as teaching classes on campus, which really wouldn't be possible if we weren't in New York City. We have our research professors who are conducting research and really at the top of their field that way and advising, leading governmental bodies and firms. And it is such an exciting place to be, really on a daily basis, and that excitement is palpable in the students' experience and how excited they are to go to class and to connect with each other and to lead the different student conferences and really make the most of their experience here, because 2 years will just really fly by. And there are so many potential things to do that students have a lot of options to consider while in the program, and they want to make the most of everything while they're there.
Nice. And you mentioned that Columbia is at the very center of business, in New York, and we all have seen that famous question on how that will affect the students personally. Students can't really grasp exactly how to answer that question, but what I do know is that Columbia, it's not just about being at the center of business. What people need to know is that Columbia Business School actually puts in a great effort to make this even possible. To what extent, what kind of things do you guys do to make sure that being at the center of business is such a competitive advantage as an MBA?
Yeah, sure. So being in New York City is such a wonderful advantage of being part of Columbia Business School, and it's something that the school is very conscious of. In really every element of what the school is doing, we're connecting students with the New York area community and really making sure that they have so many different industry connections, with bringing speakers to campus, with having the adjunct professors, through the executives in residence program, and also through the courses. There are so many different types of courses that really utilize being in New York in the very center of business, like the new New York immersion courses for first-year students in their second term, where they are taking industry-specific classes, and every week in their half-term class, they're going out to work at companies and present at companies and meet business leaders in that industry to really get insight into what the future of that industry looks like from a leader's perspective. There are master's classes where companies are coming into Columbia Business School and saying, here, Columbia Business School students, here's a problem that we want you to work on and solve for us. And Columbia Business School students really get to combine that sort of academic theory that they've been learning with practical experience working on real world problems for real companies that need their help. So there are so many ways in which Columbia Business School is drawing the New York environment into the school, and also making sure that students are exploring New York City as well. We have 14,000 alumni in New York City alone. So that's an incredible advantage to be located in the center of our alumni network and in the heart of that. And so students, it's very easy for them to send off an email to an alum and say, hey, do you have 10 minutes to meet for coffee today? And they can hop on a train and get down there, within half an hour and be there to chat with an alum who's working at the very job that they want to work at post-MBA. So it's really an incredible opportunity.
Indeed. I mean, that's fantastic, just to have everything in arm's reach, just a phone call or an email away. Now, you touched on something. How much does that affect as far as the career services work and just the student being able to be proactive, going out there and reaching out to the alum? How does that work? What increases a student's chances to actually get into whatever career that they're looking for? What are the tools that you guys provide, in this sense? How much is it the student's obligation to do his part, but also how much of the career services help out with this pursuit?
That's a great question. So the Career Management Center is really the home for all things career related, and they are a great resource for our current students in really helping them think about not just the job that they want immediately post-MBA, but thinking about what is their ultimate goal? What should their career arc look like? How do they get there? What are the next steps that happen after their immediate post-MBA goal position? And so there are so many resources that they provide, from the executives in residence, where semi-retired or retired former senior executives are part of the Columbia Business School community and here to share their insights with students on a one-on-one or very small group basis to hear about what it's like to lead at the very highest level of that industry. There are industry-specific one-on-one advising sessions that the Career Management Center provides. There are alumni career coaches that come back to campus and talk to current students who are interested in working in that industry or in the companies where they're working. There are second-year peer career fellows who are students who have successfully completed their summer internship recruiting process, and they are there to help first-year students through that process, which can be really daunting. And so they're there to be a strong resource and personal connection for them as well. And in addition to the work that the Career Management Center does to help prepare students with resume reviews and interview prep, and just really conversations about where they see their career headed and connecting them with alumni. There's also a lot of work that happens between the Career Management Center and student clubs and organizations. So for example, there are industry-specific clubs like the Management Consulting Association. And so that's a great resource for people who want to get connected with other current students who are interested in that industry, who want to make connections there. And they also have really strong ties to companies who are, looking at the resume books that the clubs provide, that are having club-specific networking events and things. And being in New York City, really, we are at the global recruiting center for a lot of companies. A lot of companies are headquartered in New York, and so if you want to work in New York, it's really easy not to have to travel to do your recruitment. The companies are coming to the school, or you can go to the companies really easily. And then there's also that you don't have to travel for that process, but then there's also the enterprise search process that happens for maybe if companies aren't on the big recruitment track, and they're not bringing in 60 students into their first year program post MBA. The Career Management Center is also really helpful for getting people into smaller companies that maybe don't do this big search, and in industries where maybe they do more just-in-time recruiting. They're very familiar across all different types of industries about how the recruitment process works, and they have very strong relationships there. Something I'd like to note is that what your question about how much is the student's responsibility and how much is the Career Management Center's responsibility is that the Career Management Center provides all of these amazing resources for students, and they're there to help in every way possible, but it's really the student's responsibility to take that opportunity. And that's something that is very common for Columbia Business School students, is that they're the type of students who don't want anything handed to them. They really want to go out there and work for it, and it's something that they have all of the resources and all of the support to get them there, but it's something that they go out and do themselves.
So basically, it's almost impossible not to find a job after your MBA. It's unless you really don't want one. It's kind of what we're trying to say here. But during your info session, I heard you mention Prodigy Finance. Now, I'm a big an ambassador for Prodigy Finance. I really believe in their business model. I love what they're doing, and I'm interviewing a lot of their students who have used Prodigy Finance and how Prodigy Finance has changed their lives. What's Columbia's relationship with Prodigy Finance, and how does that work?
Sure. So a while ago, we went through, after the financial crash, it was a lot harder to get international student loans for students. They had to have a credit-worthy U.S. cosigner to cosign a loan with them, and that was something that the business school and the financial aid office in particular really wanted to and has been working on hard to change that so that we can offer a non-cosigner option for international students, because they also need financing, and Columbia Business School is a very exciting endeavor but can be expensive, and so we wanted to help people, international students in particular, really have this option for the no-cosigner loan. And so Prodigy Finance is an institution that we've had this relationship with, and they were really the connection that we had that is now able to offer this no cosigner loan for international students, and we're really excited about that.
Oh yeah, it's great that you guys have made this available and are thinking about how students are financing their schools. I think that's fantastic, and it's a no-brainer. I think if you're looking to go to a top school, you're going to pay top dollar. It's there's a tight relationship between that, and if you do have financial woes, there are again resources out there that can help you. get past that hurdle. Now, I want to go on a lighter note. What are some of the things the people at Columbia, the students at Columbia, and even, admissions officers, what do you guys do for fun, on and off campus? What's it like? Explain to me, what are some of the fun activities that you guys do apart from work?
Sure. So the students have so many fun things going on all the time. I think more than anything, as a business school student, you learn how to say no to things that are very exciting, which is so hard because everything sounds so great, but you only have a specific number of hours in the day. You have to study, you have to go to class, you have to recruit, and the networking and social aspect of it takes up a lot of your time, as it should, but there are things that you are always going to have to turn down, which is hard. So I think learning to say no and how to balance your schedule is something that every Columbia Business School student learns how to do. I would say for fun, I think students just really enjoy each other's company, so they spend a lot of time together. They do club activities that are really enjoyable. The Gourmet Club, for example, is a club that students really enjoy, going to restaurants together throughout New York City. You have New York City at your fingertips. It's such a great place to go and meet chefs and go to restaurants and have exciting people like Dominique Anzel, inventor of the Cronut, come up to campus and speak to your club. So exciting things like that. Students our students love to travel, so there's lots of international travel opportunities that our clubs take together. The clubs, the clusters, and also through the Chazen Institute of International Business, through the study tours, exchange programs, and global immersion classes as well. So those are really fun opportunities for students to learn while experiencing a new culture as well. And I don't know. We're in New York City. It's really a cultural capital of the world. There are museums, and there is Central Park, and it's just a beautiful place to be. And with the Columbia Business School students, they have an excellent community to explore the city with. So it's all very exciting. And also something that our business school students love to do is we have a weekly Thursday happy hour on campus in Uris Hall in the dining center, and it is a chance for students to get together and unwind, and they're usually sponsored by different clubs, and so that's a fantastic opportunity to get to know sort of the character of different clubs and enjoy some time together.
Well, okay, you mentioned the hall, and I imagine a huge location. What kind of numbers are we speaking of here? How many students show up to this happy hour?
Well, there are 750 Columbia Business School students in 1 year. And happy hour is for both years, and every student can bring a guest. So this is a big party every Thursday. And of course, not everyone comes to every happy hour. We wouldn't be able to hold all of everyone plus their guests all together. But people come out for free beer and a good time and a chance to connect with one another and unwind. So it's a fun time that people have together. And also before happy hour, a lot of our clusters get together to do our CBS Matters presentation. So CBS Matters is a chance for Columbia Business School students to get up in front of their clusters and talk about what's important to them, what matters to them, and why. And our clusters are like family. They're really close to one another, but every CBS Matters presentation brings out something new that you didn't know about one of your classmates. And so that is just a really wonderful thing that our students who are, very scheduled, have no extra time, but carve out an hour every week to come to CBS Matters and hear one of their classmates share part of their story with their friends before going down to happy hour together is just an example of what a fantastic community and how much fun they have together.
Wow, so the ice is broken even before the happy hour in that sense. We're telling these stories. These personal stories sometimes and very revealing stories at CBS Matters.
Yeah, definitely. CBS Matters can really range from very lighthearted things where you're talking about, your love of surfing or your trials and tribulations of internet dating. But they also go through, very heart-wrenching times that you've had or what your childhood was like growing up or who's influenced you and what makes you the person who you are today. And so that our students share this with each other is is such a strong piece of the Columbia Business School community. And I think it's important to note that it's also something that was a student initiative that was started by one Columbia Business School student just in his cluster. Then it expanded across the clusters, and now it's really a part of the institution and something that every Columbia Business School student experiences. There are even school-wide happy hours, there are school-wide happy hours, but there are school-wide CBS Matters, and also professors do CBS Matters and administrators, so you get a chance to bond together as a community and understand and support one another once you know more about who that person is.
Oh, it really sounds like a campfire kind of, everyone roasting a marshmallow and talking about stories and stuff. It sounds really nice.
Yeah, it's very kumbaya. And it's something that I think that people might be a little skeptical of before they come to Columbia Business School. But I've heard from so many students that it's one of their favorite things about Columbia Business School and about their experience that they've had.
Nice, fantastic. So a moment of bonding before a moment of great networking and making close, intimate friendships that are going to last a lifetime. It does sound like you guys have a great time. If one day I do come visit you guys in Columbia, I will call you up, and then let me be the invite for the happy hour.
Sounds great.
All right. So what's your favorite thing to do on your free time then?
Sure. I love to run in Central Park. New York City is all hustle and bustle and so exciting and so many things going on that being able to escape to the middle of the city that has this beautiful greenery and landscape and just to sort of be able to forget as you run through the park is something that's really lovely and something that a lot of our students do as well. There's actually a Columbia Business School running club, and I know that they go through Central Park as well as down Riverside Park as well, which is another beautiful green space in the city.
Nice. All right. Well, it looks like we're almost running out of time, and I don't want to hold you back more than I have already, and we want to thank you so much for your time. I have only 2 more questions to ask you. The first one is it's admissions related, and could you give our listeners some tips on what not to do in their applications, what you should avoid on your applications if there are a couple of things that, the do's and don'ts, but I like to kind of think of the don'ts because that... they're kind of, sometimes there's funny stories that come out of the don'ts.
Sure. For the don'ts, I would recommend not to overthink what a perfect answer is for your essay questions and what the admissions committee really wants to know and what they're secretly asking when they ask this question. I think it's, we're asking the questions that we ask because we have a specific reason to, so we want you to answer those questions, and they're not trick questions. We really want to know the answers to them, and we want to know who you are and answering them honestly and conducting your research and really taking time to evaluate yourself personally and see what you're looking for in an MBA program. That always leads to a stronger essay than someone who's really trying to, beat the system and think about what the admissions committee really wants to hear. So that would be a piece of advice I have.
Nice. Thank you for that. And what is your final piece of advice or word of advice for applicants who are going through their application journey, who are having difficulty, a final word of motivation to get them through? What would you say to our listeners today?
I would say it's all going to be okay. You're going to get into a great school and you're going to have a wonderful time and you're going to have a fantastic MBA experience. I would encourage students to apply for Columbia Business School because I think we have a fantastic MBA program, and being at the center of New York City is such a phenomenal opportunity for our students, and we have such a wonderful community that I would love for the people listening to all apply and be a part of that. And in terms of advice that I have for sort of navigating the kind of scary application process is that it will be over at one stage, but to put in a lot of work now, and the work that you put in terms of evaluating what is the right school for you, what is the right fit, doing research about classes and programs and professors and clubs and student organizations, and doing an internal evaluation about who you are and who you want to be out of an MBA program and what you want to gain will really make for a strong application, and that time that you put in really comes through to the admissions committee, and those make for the best application. So good luck. and apply to Columbia Business School.
Thank you. Thank you so much for granting us your time here today. And yeah, Anne here is eager to see one of your, she's going to be the one reading your applications. So, make sure you don't overthink it and just be as honest and genuine as possible, which is the most important thing. Schools are looking to get to know you better. So thank you so much, Anne.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
There you have it, listeners of the MBA Wire. Once again, we had a great episode here, and hope you enjoyed it. This is Mateo Chang signing off. I'll catch you guys next time on the MBA Wire.
Thanks for tuning into the MBA Wire. Would you like to know more? Visit us online at thembawire.com today and leave your questions and feedback. While you're there, sign up for an exclusive free audio series to help you strengthen your MBA interview. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the MBA Wire.